What's going on? You are watching today and listening to my brand new podcast, Sex with Stevie. It's a live show, which means that you guys get to call in. The number, I put it in the comment section. It's 908-312-1015. I've got some questions for you guys to weigh in on. I hope you have your cocktail with me and you're drinking alongside. I've got a nice wine, as you can imagine, as we're all self-quarantining. The track, if you tuned in earlier, I was jamming to DJ Steve Cunningham, one of my favorite DJs, who was one of the first guests on Sex with Stevie, and I'm so glad that he did the show. One of the greatest. You can follow him on Mixcloud, DJ Steve Cunningham. I've got, on this week's episode, as we're self-quarantining, and it looks like it's going to be through May 15th at the very least, particularly if you live in major cities like New York, LA, and I'm sure the rest are going to follow along. Not sure if you heard, but they're going to not have live concerts or sporting events. Well, I know a lot of you guys like sports. I like some, but I'm a concert goer, and Janet Jackson was on my summer list, and I'm kind of bummed that that's not going to happen, although I know she's going to revamp. She hasn't even come out with her album yet, and we'll get to hear her probably in 2021. So anyways, you're watching Sex with Stevie, my brand new live podcast. It's a sister to my 3-year podcast that's been going strong, like I said, for 3 years, Tags Podcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex. That's right, we talk a lot about it, about our experiences, and it's grown so well that I decided to do this live podcast. It's a call-in show, and it kind of reminds me of, I got inspired by Dr. Drew, the call-in type show, Love Lines, that I thought was a lot of fun, and you can call into this show too. I put the number in the feed there. This show, Kodi, my co-host, who was going to start the show with me, is going to be calling in a little bit later, so we will be hearing from him. DJ De Leon is calling in. I've known him for a long time. He's got a brand new web series. He's calling in around 10:15. But before we get to my guests and before you guys call in, I wanted to do a little show and tell. And so to get things started real quick, if you haven't heard, we're doing a book club right now. It's called Every Grain of Sand. I started reading the book. It's really good. It's a memoir of Dan P. Wickman. Oh my gosh, I'm already on the part. It's just really, it's riveting. And we're going to have Dan on the show. I won't even go into the whole storyline because I don't want to ruin it. You can look it up. If you go to tagspodcast.com, though, you can find out more about it. It's the book club, though, and we're going to be discussing it on the show. I wanted to do a show and tell. First of all, I have my mosque, as I like to call them. My sister, I'm sure my producer, is probably laughing at me right now because I call him mosque, but anyways, I got this really cool mask like a long time ago, and when I was really into the leather BDSM scene, I picked up this thing. I was buying everything at the time, and I found this really cool mask, and I never wore it because, I mean, where am I going to wear this thing really? And it's got the ear loops on it. It's really kind of cool. I can't really talk with doing the show, but I've been wearing this to go get my groceries. Now we have to wear it here in New York City, like many states across the country and the world. I really like this though. But I ordered another one, a camouflage one that is really good. Ways you can, my new setting today, I decided to, I don't know if you're like me, but have you started like rearranging your house, your apartment, your room, because you realize that we're in this for the long haul? Well, I've done a lot of rearranging in my place here, and one of the things that I did was, since I'm on camera here with you guys every Thursday, I brought one of my favorite Tom of Finland pictures that I got, drawings, and it's numbered. And I don't know if you can see behind, but it's essentially four guys having an orgy scene up there. And one guy is taking it up, you know where, and it's pretty huge. That is one of my favorite pictures that I have. It's a numbered Tom of Finland picture. So I think that, and it's an early number. And what I understand is if you get one of those early on, I got it from the Tom of Finland Foundation, it's worth more. Not that I'm gonna do anything with it, but hey, I thought I'd put it up there in case you get tired of looking at my mug here. You got some nice artwork behind here. The other thing I wanted to show and tell you behind me over here is one of my favorite people, David Bowie, of course. Iconic. I'm sure he's looking down on us and giving us a lot of love and support. I'm going to continue on with some of the questions. Thank you, Frank. The Fade. How many of you guys, it was one of my questions for you guys, and one thing you can call into, are you guys cutting your own hair? Well, I tried to. I bought some clippers years ago, and you know, I've made a lot of mistakes on it, but looking at my barber, Xavier Cruz, and we did a live podcast with him, he's doing these kind of live streaming, teaching, giving you certificates actually, if you try and cut your own hair. And I've made some mistakes. He said, do not just take the clippers and dig right in because you are going to get patches. And part of the reason I have a fade is because I did that and I had a couple patches like here and here. The back is a total mess right now. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, so that's my other thing. I also wanted to do a little bit more show and tell. You know, as we're self-quarantining, and this is a gay sex podcast, I wanted to get some inspiration. And one of my best friends of all time, Frank, told me what he loves to do is do puzzles to keep himself occupied and busy. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, wow, puzzles. I don't think I've done a puzzle since I was 10 or younger even. But I've heard so much how good they can keep your mind active. Certainly as we're trying to keep ourselves busy. I've been so busy anyway, but in my downtime, I've been exercising a lot. I've been listening to my vinyl, but I decided to try my own, take a jigsaw puzzle. So I found this one. I don't know if you can see it here, but I needed some inspiration because I'm not Mr. Puzzle Maker here. And let me see if I can zoom in on this nifty camera here. I don't know if I can actually, but let me see. No, well, actually, I'm just gonna do that there. And it's a guy, it's an artist, and you know Etsy, right? So I found this guy that has these puzzles, and it came today, and I think it's called, the puzzle is called, Yeah, I Know, I'm Hung. And if, for those of you listening, you won't know this, but I hope you watch it. The guy in the puzzle is super, super duper hung. And that's gonna give me some inspiration to do this puzzle as we're self-quarantining, and motivation to get this puzzle done. So thank you, Frank, for giving me that inspiration. I'm just gonna look over here to see, so Lanier says, I've been cutting my own hair for years. Oh, well, if you've been cutting your own hair for years, your hair probably looks great. Not all of us are that lucky to know how to cut our own hair, but I did kind of learn how to fade it a little bit. So I think, anyways, we've got another month in this whole process here, so I think I'm okay. A couple other things I wanted to show you in show and tell was I brought out my sex book by Madonna. And if you listen to Tag's podcast, our Tuesday show, you'll know that my co-host Lincoln and I are huge Madonna fans. And anyways, the sex book I got a few years back. I got it, I think, on eBay. And I was scrolling through it, and I decided to pull it out, and I decided to pull up a couple of pictures that, well, my favorite of Madonna is this one here, where she's got like that Barbarella hairstyle going on in the beach, naked, totally hot. But then I was scrolling around, and Madonna's always been kind to us gays, and look at this really hot one that I found, where it's like an orgy of really hot guys, and Madonna's just sort of like lurking in the background. I mean, really nice, right? Yeah. I think I'm gonna keep this out and opened for the rest of my weekend. So anyways, what was, I wanted to keep going. Kodi, okay. Oh, you love that book too, Kodi, yes. And you're calling in shortly, or soon, later this hour. It's such a great book. I love it myself. Well, I had my own inspiration back in the day. Several years ago, I did a party. I was doing like these sex parties, not sex parties, leather parties. And they were kind of kinky. It was when I was really heavily into the BDSM world, and I wanted to share a couple of them with you. This is me with, I don't know if you can see it there. I think you can kind of see it right there. It's me with a corset and a hat, which I thought was kind of hot and fun at the time. And then I did another one that was me getting spanked. And I don't even know who the model was that spanked me, but it was kind of a lot of fun to get spanked during that time. And I used to do these kind of BDSM leather parties. And so that's my inspiration from Madonna. Let me know how you guys are keeping busy, how you guys are keeping busy on yourselves. Let me go to some of my hot topics before my guest, DJ Dan DeLeon, calls in. DJ Dan DeLeon is a huge DJ, circuit DJ, and right now he has a brand new web series out. It's called The Circuit, and it's really good, I have to say. And I think they've already dropped 2 episodes. We'll put the link of it. I'll have him talk about it. He's dropping the 3rd episode tomorrow, and it's got DJs like Nina Flowers and a lot of other people that are really good. I really encourage you to check that out. As we go into this self-quarantining and we see, as every day seems like something new happening, did you guys hear that San Francisco Pride just canceled? Not postponed, but canceled. And you know what? That makes sense to me. Why postpone something? I mean, really. Particularly, I know a lot of them were celebrating a big anniversary here. Fortunately for us here in New York City, is we had World Pride last year, and it was like the greatest party event ever. I'm not sure. So, I mean, to take a year off, not that I wanted to, not for this reason, but listen, we need to all be safe and sound, and I'm not sorry that, we all have to be safe. So that was another thing that I was reading about. The other thing I talked about, one of my questions to you a little bit later is, what have you changed because of this pandemic? What, events or trips have you had to cancel? And I want to hear from you on that. That's going to be a little bit later. You can call in. The number again is 908-312-1015. We've got a lot more things coming up, including we did a poll on Tag's podcast earlier this week on Tuesday. I'm going to bring in some of those results. And as we wait for my caller to call in, I had an exercise for you to keep yourself busy. So as many of us are at home and probably jacking off or masturbating way more than ever, I've got a really good exercise for you that will strengthen these muscles here. So whether you're on the computer a lot or whether you're jacking off more than ever, I learned this exercise from this YouTuber guy who is really an expert. And all you do is for a minute is you just sit on your heels if you can, or just in your chair, and you just literally do this, out with your fingers and in, like clench your fists. And you do it for a minute. Well, if you do, I did it for 3 minutes, like a minute, take a break, a minute, take a break, a minute, take a break. And oh my gosh, it is burning. But what you're doing is you're strengthening all your forearm muscles and all those fingers, all the different areas that really need to get worked, so it isn't just all about the hand, and it's actually you're strengthening these muscles so you can jack off more, which I've heard through so many of you that you guys are doing it more than ever before. That's another question that I want to hear from you on today's episode is how much are you increasing your jack off and your masturbation? I can only imagine it's a lot more than ever. And there is my caller calling in. Hey, what's going on? Is this DJ Dan De Leon?
Yes, it is.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Let me just get your volume up and put up your tag here because we can actually do that, so it's live. Okay, I got it up there. Hey, how the heck are you doing? You just moved. So for people that don't know, DJ Dan De Leon is a huge circuit DJ in the community, has been doing it for years. I've met him years ago in Los Angeles when we both lived there, and you just recently moved to New York.
Yeah, I moved here in January. Yeah, big move. Yeah.
Wow, so I bet you didn't think you were going to move here only to be quarantined to your apartment, right?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy, man. This is like I can't. I don't know. It's like it's been a mixture of different, emotions and feelings. Like it was scary at first, and well, at first I guess people were like kind of like just brushing it off.
Right.
And then it got scary for a while, and then it got kind of crazy. It's like going to the supermarket and fighting for oranges or whatever. But
yeah.
It's now it's just kind of like I don't know. I feel like I'm settling into it. I'm getting like I'm it's basically I work from home anyway, so it's not that foreign to me to be home and doing stuff here, but it's definitely like a change of focus because the business that would normally be coming in and I'd be working on is not happening. So it's like, okay, where, everybody's wondering like where they're going to get their next paycheck and stuff.
Yeah.
And I had just started working on this new project that I was telling you about. And, it's just kind of funny that the timing is just so funny because this thing hit and this project happens to be something that isn't affected by the nightclubs closing or
Well, let's talk about that. You have a brand new web series out. It's called The Circuit. You are in it, as well as so many other people like DJ Nina Flowers and so many others. You are one of the producers on it as well. I watched the first 2 episodes. We're going to list it out for you. I thought it was really riveting and a behind-the-scenes look of the kind of gay circuit world. First of all, what was the inspiration to want to produce this web series?
Well, so, I didn't create it. The creator, director, his name's Daniel Liu, and he's a brilliant young entertainment, editor, director, filmmaker.
The filming of it is excellent, by the way, so kudos to him.
He's done a great job, and his cinematographer Sam Dara and his other producer Trey. We've all been, very impressed with the quality of the actual production and the quality of the editing and all that. When I first heard of the series and I saw the trailer, I was very skeptical, and as I started getting into the first episode, I realized that the quality was so high. I reached out to him, and I have a background in filmmaking too. Before I was a DJ, I had made films, and I became a DJ because I was researching a screenplay that I was writing. So, I could speak to him and I could relate to him in a way that most people couldn't, because most people in this scene, they are, in the nightclub scene or they're in the circuit scene, and that's what they do. I mean, they're musicians or event people or promoters or whatever, and that's the world that they know. So coming from a film background, I was able to communicate with him in a different way. And because I've been to film festivals and I've had award-winning films and all that, I felt like I could see the potential in it, and I could offer a lot to the project. I joined up with him, and we've been expanding what he's been doing. It's been going great.
Well, one of the things we learned in the first episode is that the gay circuit scene, that's huge. I mean, there's parties all over the world. People live. I think there was a quote. Somebody in the first episode says, people live for these parties, and so much happens in these parties. I mean, there's travel. It's all about the music, of course, and we're all fans of people like you. How worried were you, or were you not worried about how much to divulge and share on this kind of slice of culture, and giving an eyeful to maybe people that don't know about this culture?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Yeah, well, it's like I think Daniel did a lot of research and kind of like pre-interviews and poll amongst friends and that sort of thing. Just to find out what people preliminarily what people didn't want to see, or what they would feel weird about us talking about or addressing in the show. And drugs was one of the things that people were kind of skittish about, us looking at it too closely, or too
glorifying, perhaps.
Yeah, like there's a fine line between glorification and just kind of like putting a stink on things, because I mean we all know that people are doing whether they're drinking or they're doing whatever. It's
sure.
Like it's part of it, but it's like it's difficult to address it without kind of tainting the whole picture. So that's one of the things that we've kind of he's chosen to shy away from dealing with that too directly. And that's something that could be dealt with in a, kind of, shock,
documentary or something else.
Well, no, kind of like an over the top sort of like just to get, just to shock people and kind of like a sensational way. Well, we could handle that in a sensational way, but we don't want to. There's also, sex, and there's a lot of stuff in there that you could cover, but it's like we've tried to look at the most sort of positive and constructive parts of the scene, and the parts of the scene that really bring people together and make the scene worthwhile. And at the end of the day, it's really about coming together with your friends and the community of the scene. So that's sort of the focus of it.
So far, I got that messaging, and it definitely doesn't shy away. I like that it didn't, so far at least in episodes 1 and 2, particularly episode 1, you talked a little bit about the drug usage, and there's definitely an alluding to somebody that maybe parties a little bit too much in one episode, and a friend questions how much he did. But on the other hand, I think it's giving an eyeful for so many naysayers that, what do you want to tell a lot of those? Because what I got out of this was it's all about the music. The music is what, and you guys as DJs, you yourself and so many of the ones featured in this, Nina Flowers and so forth, the reason so many people commune, come together, is to see some of their favorite DJs and producer DJs like yourself. Talk a little bit about that and the music side of it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You know, it's both things. You know, it's about coming together and you know, and sharing experience with people that you care about and with people that you know and your friends, stuff like that. But it is about the music. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. It's an interesting opportunity to let people go behind the scenes, like you said, and see some of the, you know, see how some of this stuff is put together in a way that you don't normally get to see. So, you know, the series is going to follow, you know, the DJs that are in the show, and we're going to show, you know, us working on tracks. We're going to, you know, show the process of how the ideas sort of come about and how they get developed, and, you know, hopefully show the creative process in a way that is illuminating and exciting for people to, you know, to watch and to kind of like come along with us on. So, you know, you got a little bit of a taste in that first episode. The second episode, we have a little bit more, and we introduce, I mean, I get introduced in the second episode, and I meet with Joe Pacheco, and we call Nina Flowers on a Skype call, and we talk to her about doing a track together, which is something that we would really love to get into, you know, actually in the studio and shoot in the studio and be able to sort of produce this track on camera, which would be a really interesting experience.
Before we tell people how they can watch it, because it's out right now, and you're dropping a new episode, I know, tomorrow. There's a porn star, I believe, a couple of them that are on the show. What juiciness can you share with us that we're going to see?
You know, I don't know if there's a whole lot of juiciness that we've had so far, you know, happen behind the scenes or anything. But I do think that there will be some juicy stuff coming in the near future.
Well, I thought it was juicy just watching you all and learning so much about it. I've been to a lot of the parties myself, so I know a lot of these. The first episode featured a popular party that's been going around the country, Meet, M-E-A-T, which was a lot of fun, and so much happens on stage with the performers, and then of course you got the music. Talk a little bit about how you're rolling out these episodes, because they're on YouTube right now. You've got a website. The first two are out that people can watch, and then tomorrow there's a new one?
Yeah, you know, and I do think there's an interesting opportunity to show some of the events that are maybe more fetish-oriented, like Folsom or something like that later, which would be great to do, and could be really interesting from a juiciness standpoint. But yeah, so
You guys are already juicy, so don't worry. But there's always room for more, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely. We've got 2 episodes out. The third one comes out tomorrow. We're also starting a live stream, like a DJ live stream thing that we're going to do after the episode drop tomorrow. So tomorrow at 9 Eastern, we have the episode stream on YouTube, and then we're doing this live circuit experience that combines HD visuals. It's not just like a DJ spinning on a webcam. It's like a actual like festival visual experience with HD visuals and high quality audio, live DJs, live DJing, all put together and then multi-streamed across multiple platforms. So we'll be on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Zoom, where you can actually enter our, you know, Zoom experience and watch the visual presentation at the same time while you're watching other people in their homes. And, you know, everybody's sort of like in their own little window, having their own little private party. So that Zoom type of, you know, virtual nightclub is something that's becoming more popular now, since everything's closed. But the experience that we're putting together, and the technology that we're putting together for this experience is really like, you know, it hasn't really been seen yet. And it's really going to deliver something where you could put it on the TV, plug it into your stereo, and actually have this like amazing HD picture with high quality sound and it's 3 hours of live DJs and live DJing. So
Oh
it's
my
going
God,
to be
I'm
really
in.
cool. Yeah, it's going to be really cool.
Because I can do that on my system here. Where can people go to tomorrow, but they can follow, give people the links real quick?
Yeah, so the basic landing page that has everything on it is thecircuit.tv,
Okay.
and that has the episodes. It has the previous episodes. It's going to have the window with the live episode at 9 o'clock, and then the links will also be there for the Zoom rooms and for the Facebook Live. It'll all be right there at thecircuit.tv. You can also go to Facebook, facebook.com/Dan L Productions, which is the production company's name, and that has all the circuit episode information and the event invite for tomorrow night as well.
Awesome. I'm going to tune in. And my last question to you is, I mean, this is an amazing creative opportunity that you are doing right now. What do you think about this time frame that we're all in right now that is forcing us to kind of dig deep creatively, given what we're working with here, particularly in our community?
It's really interesting because the moment has created this conversation around a virus, and the production was in Miami shooting. I was in Mardi Gras in Sydney, and the production had gone to Miami to shoot Winter Party, and I got back from Sydney, and they were in Miami, and the whole virus kind of exploded that weekend, the coronavirus. So they came back from Miami, and it was kind of like, what do we do now? Because this is happening, and everything people were talking about. Could people were getting sick. Could these events and events like it and other nightclub events and other gatherings, where you have a lot of people together, could that have contributed to people getting sick and people dying?
Right.
So this is it was immediately a really hot topic. And it made us all think about the connective tissue between the coronavirus and, another virus called HIV that this community has dealt with in the past. And we started developing a concept for a documentary feature film that we want to make over the summer. So kind of a companion piece to the series where we would take that basic step of, okay, coronavirus, people dying, and kind of go, okay, well, the gay community has experience with a virus. AIDS wiped so many people out. We're still
another pandemic,
yeah, and there's no cure for that. There's no vaccine for that. So that also led to the birth of the circuit. So the circuit was born out of these large fundraising galas that they would have for AIDS, and eventually they started doing parties to raise money, and it became the white party and the black party and all this stuff. So that has led us to want to make a documentary that basically talks about the origins of the circuit in relation to the AIDS virus, and that relates to the virus we have today. So hopefully that will be a vehicle for us to talk about the circuit, the history of the circuit, and what people went through in the 80s and 90s leading up to the development of the circuit, in a way that the mainstream might actually pay attention and be educated on that, because it's we have to deal with a lot of bias in our community, and they used to point fingers at us and be afraid because you can catch AIDS or whatever, and now they're trying to blame us for coronavirus. I mean, there's conspiracy theories out there about that, which is ridiculous. But I mean,
they're always blaming us. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah.
So it would be interesting to do that, and use that as an opportunity to hopefully get to communicate to the mainstream about what we went through and what we've survived and why we do what we do and what we do, because they don't really gay culture and LGBT queer culture has exploded sort of within the mainstream zeitgeist over the past few years, and it's kind of everywhere. So it's the right timing. So it's just kind of an interesting opportunity. This virus hits, we're all in lockdown, we're all, hunkered down at home with, social distancing and all this stuff. And yet it has opened the door to maybe talk about our history in a way that might actually make sense to regular, people in the middle of the country or wherever. So that is interesting. That's an interesting opportunity.
Dan DeLeon, I thank you so much and congratulate you on your new show, The Circuit, that you're one of the producers on and starring in as well. People can go to thecircuit.tv, correct?
Yes.
And people can watch episodes 1 and 2, participate in the live dance party tomorrow night. Real quick, tell everybody about that again before I let you go.
So we have live HD visuals by Guy Smith, who's the top visuals production, producer in the entire circuit. And DJs Dan DeLeon, Joe Pacheco, and Alec Bryan. So we're going to have a live VJ experience. It's going to be really cool. You can watch it across multiple platforms, and you can also join in the Zoom room, which will have hundreds of people and all partying together. So it should be a very, very, very cool experience, and definitely something that hasn't been seen yet.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Dan. And when we get out of this, let's get together since you're my neighbor now.
Definitely, Steve. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. All right. Wow. Okay. I am all about that tomorrow. Circuit.tv. Like I said, I watched both the first 2 episodes, and they're really short and quick. And I streamed them on my TV. You can watch episodes 1 and 2. And like he said, tomorrow, everything I've mentioned so far is on tagspodcast.com. We always do show notes for you. And so I wanted to put up a couple of questions for you in the meantime, because this is a call-in show. You're listening, watching today, Sex with Steve V. I am, of course, Steve V. And I wanted to pose some questions for you. The number to call in is 908-312-1015. And I'm posing the question, I put it on the bottom of the screen here, is what have you essentially learned about yourself during this self-quarantine in a positive way? So I put positive things you've learned about yourself that you would be happy to share. The number again is 908-312-1015. I want to hear from you. I want to know what things you have incorporated. Have you picked up a puzzle with a guy with a huge dick like myself that you're going to commit to? Or are you, I've been doing so much exercising here, more so exercising than I've ever done before. It's so weird. Being quarantined, I'm on this, I think I'm addicted to it right now. I've got all of these yoga, Pilates, HIIT training, which is kicking my ass, which I love though. Interesting known fact I was watching something on CNN, which I tend to watch a lot, is they were doing a Q&A with, I was going to say DJ, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. And one of the questions they said was, can you help prevent the coronavirus by increasing your lung capacity? And it's so interesting because for a while, I was getting into running, I'll have to say, but there was a period where all I was doing was just going into the gym and just trying to lift weights. And in this self-quarantine, I realized I used to be a gymnast back in the day. I used to be super flexible, and I've lost a lot of that. Well, because of this, I am now doing so much yoga, and I have these crushes on these YouTube guys, and there's so many of them out there. It's so funny. But one of them has this whole workout that he does that is all about major flexibility and so on and so forth. So I'm getting back into my pancake stretches, and I'm doing this HIIT training, high intensity interval training, which is kicks your butt. But speaking of what Dr. Sanjay Gupta said about increasing your lung capacity, I am really, really working on that. I think I'm at the end of this, I'm going to be in better shape than when we weren't in this, which I guess is a good thing, right? I mean, if nothing else, that's a good thing. But I want to hear what things you've learned about yourself. I'm also meditating a lot too, which is keeping me calm, centered, because when we aren't seeing a lot of people, I know I've done talking to a lot of friends. I've participated in wicked gay parties, which I've done a virtual jack-off party, which you can do too. You can go to wickedgayparties.com, and my co-host is calling in. Kodi, what's up? How are you doing?
How you doing, boo?
I'm doing really good. How about yourself?
You look so good. I love that shirt.
Oh my God. You know, it's so funny being in this quarantine and getting ready for this show. You know, there's the whole technical side of it, but I also think, you know what, I want to kind of dress up. I want to dress up for you all, and it's a chance for me to kind of dress up. So I'm going through my closet, my rack of clothes. I totally took apart a drawer full of all my paraphernalia, my BDSM leather gear and jock straps, and I found this in there, and I was like, and it kind of zippers a little bit in and off, and I can kind of show a little bit more if I want or not, and it's kind of fun, so.
It's working for you. We enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Well, absolutely. First of all, I don't know if you heard any of my interview with DJ Dan De Leon, but I
heard the entire thing.
Cool. Did you get a chance to watch any of the first 2 episodes that he had of the circuit?
Funny story. I just watched the episode that first came up. I'm the most backwards person, I guess. I watched the episode that first came up.
There's only 2.
Yeah, exactly. I watched the second one first, and then I have to watch the first one still. But I'm so already enthralled. I'm like Joanne the Scammer says, I'm a messy bitch who lives for drama. So it was perfect. I was ready. I was like, ooh.
And there's I know, right? And because it's kind of like a world that we kind of know about it. In other words, it's not like The Housewives or any of that stuff. It's kind of a world that's either we've been to some of these parties or we're gay and we go out and stuff like that. So I'm kind of with you that, I'm totally into it myself too. It's kind of juicy, right?
Yeah, totally. It's something that, that I have experienced myself and that I can relate to. So I'm enthralled. I'm ready for episode. Well, I have to watch episode 1 first, but as soon as I watch episode 1, I'm ready for episode 3.
Yeah, and I don't know if you heard, but tomorrow he's doing episode 3 drops, and then it's like this big dance party. So I'm going to tune in and turn it on my stereo with laser lights and have a big dance party here for 1.
Well, I'll see you there because mine will probably be one of those silent dance parties. The ones where you have the earphones on. So.
Well, it's interesting, Kodi, because, I live by myself here, and in some ways it's great. In other ways, other than seeing the checkout person when I get some groceries or the doorman that are, 10 feet away from me, that's been it. And how are you dealing with, I know you have a roommate, and
I do.
At least you get to see some of, how are you dealing with your roommate in terms of, do you still keep social distancing, or do you guys realize that the fact that you haven't left the apartment, that you're fine, or how does that work?
Well, we never really hung out before, so we're pretty much doing the same thing we were doing before. Like, he's a nice guy. He's a bartender. He made me a drink the other day. He's a very nice guy. But we don't hang out. Like, it's exactly the same. So we don't have to, work at doing social distancing because we were already social social distancing before. Who I have a problem with social distancing with is with my best friend Ashley. She lives upstairs.
Right.
So we hang out all the time. We go grocery shopping together. We have happy hours together. We do the most together. We kiki, we laugh, we play games together. So that's who I'm having a problem social distancing from.
I see. And then we have to follow up, of course, because you've been dating a guy. And
yes.
How is that going? The last we heard was last week. You've been dating this guy where you were getting closer before all of COVID-19 came about. And of course, you've tried to kind of keep in contact with FaceTiming and so on and so forth. Last week, you said you felt a little distant from him just because that's maybe the nature of what's going on. What's the story this week?
Okay. Update.
Yes. Spill the tea, girl.
Spill the tea. Are you ready? Do you have
your I'm ready. I got my yes. I've got it here.
We had a FaceTime date yesterday. It was good. It's good. He's more like reserved, I would say.
Okay.
So I feel like once he's done talking, he's done talking.
And that would have been regardless of, you could have been in the same room. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. We would have just gone on to making out instead. But we can't do that now, so.
Is the connection still there, the spark? I think I said this a couple episodes back. A friend of mine told me that there is something about a chemical reaction that we all have with each other, that you lose that if you don't see that person after I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks. However, with things like FaceTime, I'm wondering if, even though they're not in the same room as you, if you still can feel that get through technology.
Yeah, so last week I was really skeptical. But this week, I still got, when I saw his face and his smile and we were connecting, I still got the little butterflies in my stomach.
Oh, nice.
So,
and
that was really nice.
Are you guys sexting or doing any of that? Or you said he's shy, so yeah.
No sexting yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to work that into the conversation. But I'll make it happen. Don't worry. Your boy got some moves on him.
I love it. Well, one of the things I asked in our question is, what have you learned about yourself, either sexually or just is there something new that you learned about yourself that you didn't know, that you're surprised by or happy about?
Well, number one, I'm a better cook than I thought I could ever be.
Right? Don't you think you're a chef too? Me too.
Put me on Top Chef right now. I
wouldn't go that far, but well, maybe for you. But
come on, girl, I can do it. But sexually, I guess I'm more adventurous than I thought I could ever be. I mean, even with myself, I feel like, because I guess having to have so much outside stimulation, like porn and books and things of that nature, I guess you get tired of seeing the same old thing over and over again. So you venture out into things you never thought you'd be interested in. So I guess maybe that I'm more sexually adventurous than I ever thought I was. And that's a surprise because I was already sexually adventurous before. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know, right?
Well, would you, I don't know, because you're still single, correct? Or you're dating?
Still single.
Okay.
I'm still single. We're dating, yes, for sure.
So, okay,
I'm still single, though.
On Tag's podcast, the Tuesday show that preceded this show, this Tuesday, and I did a part 1 interview with the guy Brad, who throws wickedgayparties.com. He's doing these virtual jack-off parties. I participated in one of them. I've talked about it. It was a lot of fun. There's one this Sunday. People can go to wickedgayparties.com. Part 2 of the interview comes out on Tuesday, so you'll hear the rest of it. But you can go to wickedgayparties.com. Curious to know from you, Kodi, would you ever try that? I mean, and just a precursor to that, I was a little nervous logging on and the lighting. Of course, because it was like the lighting. I mean, so much I prepare for this show. It's a set here, believe me. And so I was thinking, oh my God. But I got into it and it was fun. And would you try that?
So I'm just going to say this. I was already on the email list before you mentioned it. I already knew about the party.
You're like, boo, you're a little late to that party.
So I was like, oh, Steve's going to be there too. I was like, oh, man.
Last week or the...
last week.
Yeah, so I didn't end up doing last week after all, but...
you're gonna be on this week, though?
I might, yeah. I think it was funny because Brad, I don't know. We'll talk about offline if you don't want to be on if I'm on. We can coordinate. I might not. I probably won't. Kodi, I probably.
But I don't know yet.
Okay, so Kodi, I'm not probably not gonna go on it. And Brad, the host of WickedGayParties.com, was laughing, reminded me that he said, oh, this week's party is Sunday's party, because he's trying to balance it out from one week do it Friday night, the next week do it Saturday, and then the next week Sunday. And I like that. And he had mentioned that, I had mentioned there's this other group that does these virtual gay sex parties, but they do them at like 10 in the morning and stuff like that. And I'm not a morning person. And I was joking around to my other co-host on Tag's podcast. And this one on Sunday's earlier. And so he already emailed me and said, you're probably not going to be on this one because it's earlier. I heard your earlier podcast on it. And so most likely I won't be. I'll be cooking up a storm. But I am going to be cooking in my kitchen for our Patreon members. You can go to Patreon. Yep, and showing you some tips. I'm going to do a lot of tips here in my quarantine here, from stretching to how to maybe be a better bottom to to some of my toys to cooking. And I will be wearing very little. So patreon.com/Tags podcast. But Kodi, go ahead. I'll give it to you this Sunday. You can join in on that one.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yes. And then, so what did you answer? What you've learned about yourself?
Yes. Sexually adventurous, and that I cook better than I thought I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. And then for people that...
capable,
and then before I let you go, Kodi is such a beautiful singer, talented singer, and I know you did a live stream with the restaurant that you work on Instagram recently. When's the next one coming out? Or is there a next date?
It is this Sunday at 8 o'clock.
Oh, this Sunday. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's promote it.
Yeah, this Sunday, 8 o'clock on Instagram Live, Coco NYC. Their Instagram. So it'll be me and my co-worker / another great artist that she's beautiful voice, Tessalena. So it'll be she and I. We'll be on this week. I would appreciate if you came.
Yep. NYC at Poco POCO NYC, right?
Yep.
Kodi singing what time?
8 o'clock.
8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Oh, no, 8 p.m., boo.
8 p.m., got it. Yeah, I got it there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Kodi, I miss you. And
I miss you too.
I know. And I know we said we'd talk offline. Let's talk this week for sure.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, let's make that happen. Thank you so much, Kodi.
Thank you. I can't wait to see you in person, and have a great night.
You too. Cheers.
All right, boo.
All right. I've got a few more minutes for anyone that wants to call in. I posed a couple questions out there. Oh, well, let me just go back to my. Sorry, there's me. I posed a couple questions that I kind of wanted you to. Here's one that I really wanted to kind of hear from you. What events or trips have you had to cancel due to COVID-19 that you just know is not going to happen? Or the other question was, what have you learned about yourself being self-quarantining that you didn't know? The number to call is 908-312-1015. We've got a few more minutes here. I'll take your call. I would love to hear from you. Weigh in. I'm just going to check some of the... Mark Johnson says, Steve, would you ever have Dr. Eric Cervini on your show? He's great. I'm not familiar with him, but I will look him up. Feel free to send me any information on him, and would love, hey, we always love a good doctor. We always have Dr. Goldstein on the show. And speaking of Dr. Goldstein, we were going to record a new show, but due to self-quarantining, we're postponing it. He will be on soon. Another announcement is check out next week's Tuesday's Tags podcast with my co-host. I also have part 2, my interview with Brad of Wicked Gay Parties. He's the one that's doing these virtual jack-off parties that I participated in that Cody's going to do this Sunday and I'm not, so that we're not in the same Zoom room. Don't forget about our book club, Every Grain of Sand by David P. Wickman. It's really good, you guys. All of the links are on tagspodcast.com, and we're going to start talking about this book. David, the author, is going to be on in a few weeks after I'm a slow reader, so I'm giving a chance for everybody to get the book. I'm a slow reader, so that's how that was. David, hi, how are you? How was your week 4 of isolation? I think I talked about it a little bit. I'm becoming a workout fiend, working out more than ever before, so that's kind of good. And I think I'm a chef, not a top chef, but I do think I'm kind of a chef, just like Cody. And I will tell Jeremy hello. He will be on the show next week, as he is in Lincoln every week. If any events that you want to share with me in the last few minutes, trips that you've had to cancel or change. I know that I was planning on going on the Vakaya cruise line. And Vakaya cruise line, by the way, are myvakaya.com. They don't just do cruises, but they do cruises. And they were doing a trip this June to Lisbon. It was to celebrate Lisbon Gay Pride. And then we were going to go on a river cruise for only about 130 or so people. And in talking to the owner, the guy who runs Vakaya Cruise Line, I'm pretty certain that that's going to be postponed, as it's just falling in that time frame. I also had Janet Jackson tickets in July at Madison Square Garden. Damn it. If you know that reference, the damn it, put it in the comment section. I want to hear that. But if you don't, I'm assuming, I kind of feel like if we could just take all of the plans, so if the cruise line could happen in 2021 at the same time, that would be great. If Janet could come back in the summer of 2021, right after then, that I could do that. That would work for me. What trips have you planned that you've had to change? Anything? I don't know. Let me know. Put them in the comment section. I've got like 2 more minutes. If you want to call in, the number to call in is 908-312-1015. If not, no worries. I will just do some announcements in the last few minutes. The music I was listening to when we started the show was DJ Steve Cunningham. You can follow him on Mixcloud, DJ Steve Cunningham. He is churning out dance tunes every day. So check him out. TheCircuit.tv is the brand new web series. There's episodes 1 and 2 that you can watch. Episode 3 drops tomorrow. They're all on YouTube, or just go to TheCircuit.tv. It's about the circuit scene in our community. And tomorrow, after they drop episode 3, you can participate in this light streaming dance party that is not just going to be your average streaming event. It sounds like it's going to be good. I'm going to like dim my lights in here. I'm going to put it on my Bose speaker system, on my TV system, and jam out after I watch episode 3 and have a big old dance party for one, and a cocktail, of course. Don't forget you can go to our Patreon page. That's where you support Tags Podcast and Sex with Stevie, the content that you are receiving. It keeps us going. And on there, you can take polls. And the polls are free. We're doing a lot of gay sex polls on there that are a lot of fun. But beyond that, we are also, if you scroll around there, you can subscribe and be a member. And you get extra special sexy perks. This week, coming up, I've got some great video content coming your way about how to be a better bottom, stretches that you can do. Since we're in self-quarantining, this is a perfect time to teach you some of those stretches. I was a former gymnast and trainer and all that, so I've got some tricks under my belt there for you. I think that's all the time we have for you. I want to thank my guest, DJ Dan De Leon, and all that he's doing. I want to thank you all for watching. Kodi, I love you. Keep safe. Keep safe, all of you. Be healthy, and join me next Tuesday for Tags Podcast. Until next Thursday, another episode of Sex with Stevie. That's me. Cheers, be well, stay healthy. I'll talk to you then.